Hey guys, this is Colin from Blackjack Apprenticeship, and today's podcast was recorded when I was in Las Vegas for our most recent Blackjack boot camp. It is with StanTheCaddy and ZK, who are a couple of high-stakes, full-time professional card counters on the road. They have won multiple six figures, and my guest co-host for this is BJA078. And there are a couple things that I think make this podcast unique. One is it really gets into the endless debate of maximizer versus optimizer. Now, these phrases, to me, I first read about them in Ian Anderson's book, Burning the Tables in Las Vegas. And a maximizer is someone that is just going after the EV, damn the costs. I'm not going to use any cover, betting, or playing, and I'm going to be maximizing every penny I can at the tables. And when the casinos back me off, I move on to the next place. The optimizer says, hey, I'm going to cost myself some EV to try to make this last longer so I get more money in the long run. Which one is right? Well, that's for you to decide. But StanTheCaddy and ZK, they fit in the same camp as BJA078 and the church team, which was the team that I ran, and the team I played for before that with some friends, which was very much in the maximizer camp. So that makes it an interesting discussion. You can see what you think and if you're influenced or pushed one way or the other. Another thing that I think is unique about this is really their partnership. And I've been a part of teams and I've seen a lot of teams come and go. I've been a part of teams that didn't last very long and teams that lasted a long time. And there are some unique aspects to how they have their partnership arranged that I really think gives them a high chance of this working for a long time. And honestly, it's just cool to hear about and see how they have things set up to really benefit the team more than the individual. So with that being said, let's get into today's interview. Hey guys, this is Colin from Blackjack Apprenticeship, and I am here with StanTheCaddy, Z-King, and special guest host, co-host, BJA078. How's it going, guys? You want to introduce yourselves so people can get to know whose voice is here?
Yeah, I'm StanTheCaddy. I think it'll be pretty obvious which one of us is who after Z-King speaks here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Z-King.
Hi, I'm BJA078. No. Hey, it's BJA078.
Awesome. So thanks for joining us, guys, and let's get right into your story. A story of awe and wonder and backoffs and trespasses. Let's start off with how you guys got started and even started teaming up together. Stan, you want to tell us how you got into Advantage Play?
Yeah, actually, I was a few weeks out from starting to train for a national powerlifting contest, and I had a major heart attack and was able to actually survive it, and then I needed something to keep that competitiveness in me, and I've been to Vegas tons of times already just for fun. I mean, so I played blackjack, and I thought I could beat the system with the martingale system.
Yeah,
and figured out after about 2 years when there was just one trip where it just did not work. And so I figured that.
Boy, 2 years. That's a pretty good winning streak for martingale.
It was a pretty good winning streak.
Well, it does work until it doesn't
work. Exactly. That's what I figured out. And so, I mean, I even as a recreational gambler, I was pretty disciplined. And basic strategy, I was probably about 95%. So I got into the card counting to sort of feed my competitive drive, and it worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long did you spend training? Like, what was that progress from? Okay.
Yeah. I joined in June and was it 2019? And I spent a significant amount of time each day practicing. I mean, lots.
Yeah.
5, maybe 6 hours a day, and then by August, I started going to the casino. And I knew I was probably ready before that, but I'm really, really a preparation freak where I have to be 100% prepared, or it'll drive me crazy if I'm not prepared. And if I make a mistake because I'm not prepared, that bothers me more than probably anything.
And I'm just kind of curious how much time you were previously putting into powerlifting training.
Powerlifting, I was on a path of self-destruction, and Blackjack probably sort of saved me a little bit on that, and even the heart attack, because I was just doing stuff that I never did in my life before, as far as steroids and stuff that I didn't do until in 2019 was the first time, and I held the world record in weightlifting when I was younger, and that was all natural. But I was just at a point in time in my life where I just didn't really give a crap anymore. And
wow.
And to powerlifting is way different than bodybuilding, because we have to take in a certain amount of protein each day, and it's an insane amount of eating. I was eating somewhere around 340 to 360 grams of protein a day, and it's absolutely disgusting. I felt just terrible.
What's the equivalent in Denny's Grand Slam for protein? How many of those would you have to order in order to?
Well, like your average chicken breast is probably like somewhere around 27 grams of protein. So
it's like 15 chicken breasts.
Yeah.
A day.
So you're drinking a lot of shakes. Yeah, and I was eating so much red meat, and I just literally felt disgusting.
Wow. So, but was it equivalent the amount? I'm wondering, were you spending like several hours a day focused on powerlifting, and then several hours a day?
Well, I never was in powerlifting and the card counting at the same time. But as far as time wise, I think they're somewhat equivalent. Because especially once I devote myself to something, I'm all in. And it's almost I get consumed by stuff. It's not an obsession type of thing, but I get consumed. Like, I remember playing the same music and counting down the decks in my bedroom, like all alone at 1 in the morning.
I mean, it sounds pretty common for all the pros that are around. It's just that same sort of spirit. It may look a little different person to person, but the overall background is sort of that same energy.
Yeah, there's a level of devotion needed that if you don't have, you're not gonna be here, sharing your story. I think how obsessive that level of devotion is varies from person to person. But I think if you have the experience of like giving 100% to something, it's not difficult to shift that.
Yeah, the problem with me was like, and I don't know if it's a problem or a good thing, but powerlifting was so natural for me and easy in some ways. Not that I didn't put a lot of time into it. Anything I do if it was, I did some motorsports racing, anything I did, I try to get to that level I was at in powerlifting. And it's extremely hard to take something that you're sort of natural at and try to go to that top level and to try to do everything at that top level.
Yeah.
So I think throughout my life, it's, that's probably been something that probably hasn't been good to me in some aspects, because I put so much into things that, at some point I just have to take a break and just say, okay,
So Z King, how did you get into advantage play, and how'd you meet this guy?
Well, it was, I believe, 2019 also. It was one day, all of a sudden, my girlfriend and me went to a casino, played some slot machine, lost like $50. And back home feels bad, lost. Yeah. And then I started Googling, the best edge in the casino. Maybe I can find the small edges, I can win it more. And then I remember back on the day, I watched the movie 21, and then I know that, counting exists. So I start digging more to it. First thing I found was YouTube. Some guy named Colin says, hey, I teach you how to count cards and stuff.
Easy money.
Exactly.
Sign up now.
Exactly. I'm like, who's this guy? And then I keep looking at it, and it makes more sense because, the math and all that comes up. And because based on my background as, Chinese Asian, they just believe, gambling is, just bad. And a lot of them, they believe luck involved. So they don't really believe, cat counting, all that exists. They just think, you're just finding an excuse to go to a casino. You just, gambling.
Yeah.
So when I started, it's actually really hard because nobody, believe in me and also supporting me. So basically, I'm just by myself, reading Colin's books, on the website, keep counting the cards. Actually, because the more they don't believe, the more I want to prove myself that, your son or, you can work. It's awesome to, just grab money from casinos. So I'm just same as studying, just keep partying 6-7 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
Same thing. And then one day I was in a casino. Well, it was a few days ago. I believe it's about a month. And then one day I see a bald guy, try to shake a hand, put a $5 on it. And then I believe he was back counting back then.
Yeah, for sure was.
Yeah, I was on the table. I was counting. I was, doing the thing already. And when it's past 2, some bald guy just jumped in next to me, put $20. I'm like, okay. And then after a few while, I know he's a, cat counter. And back in the day, because I don't know anybody, and if I found out somebody just doing the exactly same thing like me, I'm like so happy about it. Like, oh my God, let me talk to him. But instead of say hi, the first thing I says, what's your bankroll? How much your bankroll is?
Yeah,
and he just laughed.
Yeah, that was my first day in the casino as a
You
card
guys bumped into each other on your first day in the casino. Your first day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was there about a month ago, just doing. Well, I wasn't doing much. I'm probably like $5, and then every $10 per 2 count. It's still like a practice. The early stage.
Yeah.
This is gonna be funny later on, but we would go at this casino. We would go like really early in the morning. For a number of reasons, but the main reason was that they had the $5 tables open, and we did not want to play on the $10 tables.
Yeah.
Because at noon they would change it to $10 minimum.
I remember those days.
Yeah, we just didn't want to. We just didn't want to play those.
Yeah, day by day, and then I see him more often. We talk more, and then he's like, "Oh, we're at the same page." So we become friends and.
I just basically said to him, I don't know what you're talking about when he came up and said that to me. I'm like, who is this guy?
And how did your girlfriend feel about this?
She wasn't care at the beginning. Well, actually, she still think I'm gambling too at the beginning. But now, as she see the cash and all that, she's more believe on it. And she's also a flight attendant, so I got a lot of advantage by flying for free.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage.
I remember speaking to Joe about that, and he said that's got to be one of the best EV.
Asian, and you get free flights. So that's the Richard Munchkin combo, where he says like it adds an extra $1 million to your career. The free flights. And
as a family size, I still haven't told them what am I doing right now. After
really?
2 years. Yeah.
What do they think you're doing right now when
I'm
you're
just
gone
telling
all the
them
time?
I'm doing a job that require me, fly all over the U.S.
What's the job?
They don't know. Investor. I said it's an investor. I just tell them I'm an investor. But they see, I'm putting money in, to the account every month, so they okay with it, I guess.
And they don't suspect drug dealing at all?
Well, if it's drug dealing, it's not going to be cash, so... because wire transfer, so it's gotta be clean.
So how did you guys get on the same, was it easy to get on the same page as far as the style of play that you wanted to go about it?
We're actually pretty same.
We were identical on that. I mean, as far as the style of play, the one thing that's different was ZK, and I actually forgot to mention this, and leading up to this is how he actually counts the high-low system.
Oh, yeah.
This is different than what you guys teach it. It might be a little interesting for you to hear this. So
sure.
I'll have him explain it to you.
So, let's say the first round, when the dealer deals all the cards out, I count all the cards and then lock it out, like, let's say, past 5, okay? And then the next round, I start all over again. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say it's -3. So I use past 5, -3. Equal to.
Oh, okay.
Instead of just,
sure.
5, 6,
instead
7,
of updating with each card, this running count.
Exactly, I do it each round.
Oh, interesting.
So I locked it up. Let's say this round was past 5. I can lock it up and then give talk to people. And come back on it. Still, and then, add
Interesting. I've never met anybody that does it that way. But what I always tell people, I don't care how you do it. It just has to be perfect all the time.
Yeah, and he's accurate. When I tested or went to boot camp and tested out, I came back and I went to his business that he owned at that time and pulled out the cards and tested them out, and he's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
In the meantime, the scouts will come in. I have to greet them, and they come back to the tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys were on the same page, and maybe you could share a little bit. I think that's why I asked Joe if he would, be up for being on this, because the style of play, maybe there's some similarities. I'll let you explain.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're super aggressive, and I don't think I ever mentioned this, but there's to Joe, but there are certain people that I listen to in the podcast up to this, and Yoshi and he are the two main ones that really, lodged in me, and I really focused on, and they're almost sort of like, this role models that I really wanted to be similar to. And so we're super aggressive. We'll go from table minimum and we've went up to two hands of 20, or we went up for one hand of 25 to two hands of 2,000. So we're super aggressive, and it just kills us to leave any EV on the table. I remember ZK one time did a little bit of cover, and I just tried it, and he ended up getting backed off anyways or something, and he's like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Oh, the elephant thing?
Yeah, you did something.
The elephant thing, like the first hand,
yeah,
like you put $50 on it. I forgot. It was stupid.
What was there any other experimentation you did at the beginning with smaller spreads, or did you hear stories from other people with smaller spreads that made you gravitate towards not doing it that way, or?
Not really. I mean, when I started out, I was a little more careful. I just wanted to make sure that I was good to go. And then I was real fortunate right away just to have positive variance. So I was on my own before we teamed up, which was very short. I was up to two hands of a good double deck, two hands of 300. And then we went on a trip in the Midwest, and the first casino we went to, which we can talk about later with license plate scanners, it was colder and cold out, and I had to drop him off at the door, and the license plate scanners literally nabbed him in 30 minutes of being there, and he's never at this casino before. But it was 4 degrees outside, and so we headed another 6-7 hours to another area that had a double deck game with quarter deck pen, and I made it 2 days and got backed off, and he was still alive. And I said, and I sort of ran these scenarios through my head. I said, listen, let's combine. We can't leave town just because I'm done. This game's too good. And because I offered that to him to play with my money, he has a really hard time trusting people to earn his trust. It set in his mind that because I trusted him with my money, that gained his trust in me. And so he went from basically two hands of about 150 or 175 or something like that
to 500.
To two hands of 500, just like. And I remember him, he was laying in bed, he's like, oh my God. He goes, he was like stressing out.
So at first when you were traveling together, you were just playing your own separate bankrolls?
Yeah, the first time.
Okay, and then it was
It was really, it was the first trip we went out together, and and that was, it was literally the first casino we played at together. We ended up teaming up at.
So how was that for each of you, the transition of, your ZK, you said the first time you saw Stan betting his hand shaking with $5, and now you're talking about 2 spots of 500 or 2 spots of 2,000. What was that transition period like for each of you?
I mean, at the beginning, it's $500. We still shake a little bit, but at the end, it's just like a number. It's just like a little chip to you.
Yeah.
No matter 2,000, 5,000, it's just a chip. From that point.
I don't even think you realize it's money when it's in some aspects when you're putting it out there in the chip. You get so used to it, and when you lose, of course when you're on a losing session or whatever, you understand you're losing, but it's just part of the game. I mean, I don't know how people can not bet when it calls for it. I mean, if you're going to play aggressive, especially the way we were, you have to be willing to push the bets out no matter.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard, because 2 8s against a 10, you gotta spread it. It's just too hard, but you have to, just have to.
So when you guys combined your bankrolls and were, kind of established this business relationship of teaming together, were there any disagreements as far as how to move forward, how to split things up, how to?
Actually, we were.
No, it was pretty easy. We just went 50-50 right down the middle. We've never, as different as culturally as we are.
But we think about the same.
Yeah, we're almost like identical in all our thoughts and everything else. And we have disagreements, but they're so small and irrelevant that I can't even really call any that come to my mind.
But like, is this results wise, or did you average out over hours each person played? Because if one person played 2 hours and the other person played 15.
No, we just split everything in 50-50.
And did you guys have same bankroll investment amounts?
At first, I think I was a little bit more, but he added to his down the road, and I think we were pretty close to the same.
So, going back to the highly aggressive style of play, I imagine people listening to this and they're having this like inner panic of, I like hearing the success stories of the people that are super aggressive, but that sounds really scary, or I don't want to just get thrown out every 5 minutes. How do you reconcile that, or why have you stuck with an aggressive style?
I'll let ZK talk on this. I don't want to hog the mic here, so I'm going to let him speak a little bit too.
What I think is, you're here for the money, At the end of the day, you got $1,000. Just matter if you work 8 hours or 2 hours. If I can work 2 hours, get the 7, so I'll take the 2 hours instead of work the 8 hours.
Yeah,
we're not here to play. We're here to make the money and leave. Go to the next one.
Yeah, and I think you said it, Colin, in the past. Who says that if we play a little less aggressive, that we're not going to get backed off anyways? And that's what I say to everybody. And some of these casinos, we were going in and we had 1,000+ hour EV games, and to cut that in half or something, just didn't make sense to us.
Yeah.
If that, maybe quarter, eighth, it's probably way less than that if you're not being as aggressive.
Right.
And we're not playing any cover either. Like at first, when we go to Vegas, we heard we're not supposed to split tens.
Yeah, with that. Yeah.
We're like, I done that once, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, we did that one day. I mean, I even think I heard you say you don't split tens in Vegas. We did that one day, and we're like, no. And we went right back to it.
So have you noticed any? Does one of you get more time than the other? Because there are both of you. If I were to see you two in the casino together, you look polar opposite. It's just so. Is there any? Because you have some advantage because you don't look like you're underage or something, so you don't get the ID scrutiny. But then Z King has the whole Asian superpowers.
Because sometimes when I got fired, the casino fired me. Every time I go, I have to check the ID check. Yeah, there might be a little bit, but it's the same.
It feels fairly equal split. How much time you get?
At first, I thought it was like the Asian superpower thing, but I think it really was just he was losing, and when you're losing, it just seems that. I mean, I remember playing we were getting ready to leave a casino, and he's waiting in the car, and all of a sudden I look at and I'm playing, and I'm going up to 2 hands of 1,500 at this casino, and I played for 7 hours before they finally countermeasured me in the state. And I remember looking at the phone. He's like, what's going on? He was, are you still playing? Are you kidding me? How are you still playing? So, for people who think that you can't get the hours playing aggressive, it's just simply not the case, because you can, and you just have to be persistent at it.
Z King, do you get harassed more for your ID more than Stan, like at the cage or at the table? Like, have you noticed that at all? Or
yeah, well, I noticed every time I walk in, I ID checked. Like every time I walk in.
There's a casino that would scan his ID, and then he'd walk by the blackjack tables, and they'd just basically nod at him and ask him, "Hey, you gonna play blackjack tonight?" It was just sort of funny.
So, since you guys are traveling together and playing similar casinos, is there an advantage of being able to share the chips?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, the one thing I would strongly suggest people to do is get some type of chip inventory before you go play. if you're going to bet any. I mean, even
if you have the bankroll,
yeah, if you
to
have the
handle
bankroll,
it.
even if you're betting, 2x400, if you get a long session, you definitely don't want to have to fill out a CTR to give away your identity.
I think that's a huge advantage that doesn't get talked about for people who travel together and play is the whole sharing chips and dividing that up so you can, don't have to show ID all the time. That's
Not just that,
that's
when
really
you
good.
buy it in, if you don't have the chip, you buy in at 2,000, you just catch the eyes right away too.
Yeah.
Instead of you only have 2,000 chips, drop it. Yeah.
So with the chip inventory, I'm assuming we talked about this on the podcast, the last podcast I recorded, but you try to avoid the higher denomination chips.
Yeah. I remember the first time I got $1,000 chips. I was so excited. Then I got to the cage. I'm like, oh no! I'm like,
ID check.
it was like no. I mean, they were escorting me out of the building at this point, and
That's nice of them.
yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm not giving up my ID. And I was in a city that I had a relative live there, so that it was no issue for me. I was able to give it to them, and they were eventually able to cash it out for me.
Even the $1,000 chips?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. So how is the whole, you guys started just before COVID, is that correct?
Yep.
How has that been, and the masks, and, has that been good or bad for you guys?
Again, I'll let
I think
ZK
the
start.
COVID has actually helped because they divided the table for 3 people only. That's pretty good. For double that, the maximum they can have 3 people. So I think it's pretty good. A lot faster game,
Yeah, I think for the most part it's helped off. I think that the casinos were getting a little bit more protective of their chips after COVID, but the mask thing for sure helped out. I had an issue, and I'm sure we'll get into it later, at one of the casinos, and I had a trespass there, and I had to make an appointment with the gaming officials to meet me there to try to get some chips that I had to cash them out. And when I was sitting there talking to them, and they were trying to explain why they weren't going to cash out my chips, and they said they couldn't tell who I was when I came back because the way I wear my mask and my hat, I didn't have. They said, "Well, how can I tell who you are?" And I'm like, "Oh, thanks for that bit of information," because that was the whole intention of why I was doing it. So it worked,
Yeah. So in general, you feel like the masks have outweighed limiting 3 people per table have outweighed the other restrictions and limited tables and face scanners and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, facial recognition, I don't think is really. I mean, there's one casino. I'm in Arizona. It's newer. I mean, I can even say it. I guess Desert Diamond, who's pretty sharp with their facial recognition. Other than that, I don't think I ran into a casino that has anything to do with facial recognition with me.
Sorry, real quick question about you two traveling together and playing. How did you, if you're going into town, do you switch off places? Do you both play at the same time? Do you circle back around, like one person plays at one place and then you come back later in the week and the other person does it? Or how do you trade off?
If we go into one town, we mostly go for the best casino first. It doesn't matter. Sometimes we go first, or I go first, depends on. And then if we got back off, I go in, we go to the next one, if there's a next one. And then, just...
Yeah, I think one of the things is because it didn't take long for either of us to get database. Like, it was literally my first legitimate trip. I got.
I think mine is like the first month.
Yeah, it was ridiculous how fast I got database. They scanned, or they got my license plate number, and it was a Native American casino, and then they had their tribal police just get my license plate, and then that's how they got me on the database. But towards the end, just answering your question, is I would play first a lot of times, because just for the simple fact he would get ID checks. So if I went in first, it seems like sometimes I would get longer time because they wouldn't know who I was. And ZK has a very unique look to him, so I think that he was very distinctive to some of the casinos. And just for the simple fact with the IDs, if they ID'd him and then they would link us together, that we would it was a lot of times better for me to play first because they would never ID me.
It's it's really cool to me that you guys are so comfortable with the split. You're not majoring on the minors or there's a level of putting the group before the individual, even though it's a 2-man group. That I don't know. I just think it's really cool. So
yeah, I mean, our team isn't even really a team anymore. He's one of my best friends. I talk to him daily. And it's pretty crazy how you develop a friendship with somebody doing this stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty lucky on it too. Like without him, I think by myself, I don't think I can work this far either. Like all the traveling, all the back off. If nobody supports you in the bit, oh my God, you're mental, all that. Yeah, I don't think I can go this far either.
So going back to, you mentioned a couple times now, plate scanners and your driver's license. How do you guys handle that and just parking when you're on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I would tell everybody, and this is really one of the reasons I really was interested in doing a podcast, is to provide information for others that are doing this, how important it is not to, at all possibilities, which sometimes it's impossible because, they're out in the middle of nowhere, but not to park at the casinos.
Yeah.
Even like we had a place where it was a block away and I still got a picture of the vehicles.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
Well, I don't know if it's like the stoplights and then it was the entrance of the casino, and they literally were getting pictures from their cameras onto the road.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I talked to someone who worked at Mystic Lake, which has one of the most best surveillance, in the country as far as equipment and things like that. I don't know if you would say not saying like they're the smartest, but at least they pour the most money into it. Yeah. And they were saying how they can see into the parking lot of that racetrack casino that's like down the road, like way down the road.
They could see that far.
That's what they said. I don't know. God. Could just be a scare tactic. But
one of the great things about being an AP and card counting is meeting people, and I really enjoy meeting other card counters on the road, and if getting advice maybe sometimes, or actually helping people, which is really like a high for me. And one of the guys that I sort of mentored is from Chicago, and I was playing on a double deck table with him, and this is going to get back to the license plate scanners eventually here in a second. But he was playing, I was watching him play, and I'm like, normally I wouldn't sit at a table with another card counter, but he was so ridiculous in the way he was playing. I'm like, okay, I don't care. I'm going to sit here anyways.
Yeah.
But we ended up becoming really good friends, and he was playing with a 17% risk-a-roo, and I ran his best spread.
Man.
And he ended up actually, and I'm still waiting for my commission check, by the way. He ended up joining BJA under my recommendation and getting your software. And he's not even a resemblance of the person he was a year and a half ago. He's like, I don't even recognize that guy anymore. So he's going to Mystic Lake, and I'm telling him, do not park your car, because he's been there already before. I said, do not go into their parking lot. And he decided not to take my advice and did it. And he got literally 0 time.
Wow.
Yeah, so Mystic Lake is really, really sharp. And if you think you're willing to take the risk of doing it, you're playing with suicide with the casinos to get your identity and backoffs or whatever else it may be, unless you have a rental car or something.
Well, you mentioned that, one of the things we could talk about is what security asks you at the backoff. So can you give some input there?
Yeah, I mean, ZK can talk about this too, but they'll even ask like ridiculously personal questions, like, "Oh, I see you're
like, what's your bankroll?"
Yeah, yeah, right. It's like, oh, so what sports team do you like? There's like all these.
I know that.
Yeah, all this personal information, I'm like, so I asked him, I'm like, well, what team do you like? And so and so. But yeah, one of my first backoffs, they started asking like really ridiculously personal information, and I was giving them a line of crap, and I realized later that I still said too much to them.
Oh wow!
And but then it happened again at another casino. Like they just started asking all these questions, and I asked them, well, how many kids do you have? Do you have a girlfriend? And they're like, why are you asking me that? I'm like, well, I said, why are you asking me all these personal questions?
So tell me more about this backoff. I'm kind of surprised you weren't just walking out of the casino and not having a conversation?
Yeah.
Was this like you needed to cash out the chips?
I was walking to the cage. They were going to let me cash out with showing ID, and then what he was doing is just digging. What they try to do is dig for any little information they can so they can put it in their database. Because this casino's database.
Teams.
Yeah, which was one of them. But I mean, this casino was like some other stuff, and but after that, I really, I'm an introvert in nature, so I really try to analyze things. And after I got done, I'm like, okay, we have to improve on this.
Yeah, for me, I mean, if I see some guy coming, it's like, I know there's a backoff, like, oh, time's up. And those two guys like, yep, just leave. Yeah, now I just like, oh, time's up. And then it's like, yep, your time's up. And then just leave. I don't even talk to them. If they ask me more, I'm like, no.
I mean, if we're going to get into backoffs, at some point, I had some somewhat more aggressive backoffs where, they were trying to block the door away from me from leaving. I took a significant amount of money from this casino, and then I went back a week later. They flatbetted me that the prior time, but they came back and started playing again, and it took them a while to recognize me. And then they just flipped out. They're like, "Hey, you, come over here!" And I wouldn't leave the table. I was just buying in for another couple $1,000s, and it was like a stalemate. They wanted me to leave the table, but they weren't going to give me my money or whatever. And then finally, they gave me $2,000 in chips. And I started walking out, and this guy was, and I made a mistake here. The guy was blocking the doorway from me leaving, and my male ego, powerlifting mentality sort of got the better of me. And I just got aside of him, like, there's no way this guy's stopping me from leaving, I'm saying. And I wasn't being aggressive, but I just got aside of him, just sort of wedged my way and got through. But, if anybody gets in that situation, pull out your phone and just start recording it right away.
Yeah.
Don't mess around with these guys. If they're going to do that, anything you can get on video to keep these guys accountable, is better than to say, my ego doesn't need to be involved in this.
Yeah, this came up, I think, this last 2 days at the boot camp. If, even asking the question, are you detaining me against my will? Are you accusing me of a crime? Because if so, I'm calling my lawyer. Otherwise, I would like to leave. Yeah,
and Z King actually sort of sent me in my place afterwards. He goes, and you can even expand on this. He pretty much said, you're so stupid, you needed to record that. So he doesn't really mince words.
Yep.
So I know, Z King, you have a pretty bad backroom experience. Can you tell us about that?
Which one? The one that's happened recently.
Which one?
The one that just happened recently where they handcuffed you.
Oh, what I able to say about that one?
Yeah, this is a backroom experience where, let me try to get it in there enough where he can explain it. We can't go into too much detail about it, but they took him into the back room, the gaming officials did. And
state-run place?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this actually was going back to the same place where they weren't going to cash out my chips. He tried to cash out my chips there, and he had to go to the gaming officials were there, and they made him sign a piece of paper. And I'm like, what piece of paper? And it was his Miranda rights. And so this all comes into effect when he goes to this back room. And he gets in there, and they're questioning him, and you can sort of take over from there.
Yeah, they just ask, what kind of questions, but I don't think I can tell the reason, though.
Yeah, but you can go into...
Well, so how did you end up in the back room? Did they take the chips and say, unless you come back here?
Yeah, sort of something like that, yeah. Yep. And once he got into the back room, they just tell him sort of what they said to you if you cooperate, and they wanted to just actually sign the Miranda rights.
They're gonna ask me to sign the thing, the Miranda, and then I was like, at that point, then I need the lawyer,
Yeah.
And then they still gonna ask you questions. They still gonna strong arm. They still try to get information because they know they cannot charge you. They just try to get what the hell is this guy doing? How he get advantage? He just try to get information.
So is the reason you can't talk about it because you're pursuing it legally? Or I can't say that either.
Yeah, there's something with the identities and stuff there that we can't really go into. But what the funny part about this one is he's leaving out this part of the story, but once he would sign the Miranda right paper, they were really trying to put the pressure on him, and they gave him one of these things like, if you cooperate, and then he can explain to this.
It's like, if you give me the information I want, I'm 98% sure you can go home today. And I tell them, I take the 2%. I'm the gambler.
That was huge balls, because they literally had him.
Yeah, they try to
at one point,
say things like that, but if you know you're right, just just don't say anything or wait for the lawyer.
Do you guys keep a lawyer's phone number on?
He actually called me, and I had what's his name, Bob Loeb. Yeah. So I was ready to get in contact with him as he was there. So yeah.
So how do you guys handle cashing out the chips when you have these trespasses or these kind of situations?
Yeah, I mean the first one was it was pretty much our third casino, and after the second casino after we teamed up, and I remember actually getting a hold of you saying, what do we do? We have all these chips. I mean, we had like $20-some thousand in chips, and we just started playing, and we're just like, oh my God, look at all these chips. What are we gonna do? And you have sort of an option. You can try to sell them to other people, maybe at a discounted rate, or you can hold on them if you're going to come back. And we decided at this point that I was already trespassed from there, so I couldn't go back in. He was going to bite the bullet and just go in there. And you can sort of talk. There's sort of a funny story. Remember when you were trying to cash them out, and guy behind you was taking pictures of his $100 chips and stuff. Funny.
I was in the line waiting on it, and the guy behind me, look, I win $200 today or something like that. He's paying, was talking to a girlfriend or whatever. Like $200, and then once I get to the cage, I put all the $1,000 chips on the table. That guy's like, shit.
It was like literally 45 minutes. They had to triple
how long
they
take. They take hours to verify your ID, blah, blah, blah. And then people in the line, because there's only one window at that point.
Yeah, and I mean, for cashing out chips, I mean, you just got to be patient. I know sometimes it'll take us, 6 hours throughout the course of a day to cash out chips, maybe go to the casino, come back.
Yeah, you got to be patient.
The one time I wasn't patient, sure enough, they got me on a CTR from the time I was there.
Oh, wow.
I tried to cash out, 1,500 was working, and he goes, just try 3,000. So I go up there 3,000 the next time to try to get out of there just a little bit faster. And that was the limit. They weren't going to let me get away with it. So you have to be patient.
So you told me, you referenced a story that you have where a pit boss tried to shuffle mid-hand.
Yeah, this has come up on the forum, and I sort of said I would... refer to this at a future time, and this is the time. So I think people think, and I was probably one of them, and I think a lot of people don't understand the actual rights of what the casino can do, which is pretty much, they can pretty much kill a hand almost at any point unless you pretty much have a blackjack. And I was at a casino in Nevada, and it was $5 minimum to 5 max, and so basically once we went to a true 2, we were at max bets. 2 hands of
500.
Yeah, 2 hands of 500. And the first time I went to 2 hands of 500, the pit boss is yelling for the dealer to shuffle, and he starts dealing, and I knew I was done at this point, right? And he's like, no, pick up the card. And then I'm like, well, you owe me for this hand. And he's like, we don't owe you anything. And I wasn't being belligerent or anything else, but I thought I was right at that point. He started dealing, and if you kill the hand, and that's my money. And then they actually had it was funny, because almost like all the gamblers in the area were like, yeah, you owe him. They were like, it was like a gang up on the casino, and this guy was just getting more elevated as far as his anger, and he's getting mad, and he literally told the one gambler sitting at the table next to me, he goes, hey, listen, you mind your own business and play at that table over there. And I'm like, I cannot believe you talked to the customer.
So they completed the hand, won the hand, or
they just dealt the first card out, and then it was a 2, but I didn't even get the second card, and I'm like, well, you owe me, and then it just came into just an argument, and they just kept elevating it. And
I think for a 2, I'd probably be okay just canceling the hand.
Yeah, but the next card could have been a 9. You don't know. So or the next hand could have been a blackjack. So but anyways, I thought I was right. But the part of this, there's really a long part of this whole thing that happened here was I ended up getting a hold of gaming. I ended up talking to Joe that day, and I think you eventually even got back to me.
Eventually.
I mean, and I appreciate everybody getting back to me because everybody's like, well, yeah, I think they owe you, or I think, I don't know. But gaming pretty much tells you, and this is in Nevada, that they can kill the hand. I mean, the whole hand could have been dealt, and as long as nobody has a blackjack or something there, they can kill it.
Wow, I mean, I had the exact same thing happen. This was like maybe 4 years ago. Maybe something changed, but like it was the exact same scenario. They completed, they dealt out all my hands, so I even like split hands and I tried to double, and then they wouldn't let me double and things like that. And they finished the hand, and then I lost it was like 3,000 or 4,000. I lost the whole hand, and then gaming came over, and they sure enough, like the Palm sent me a check for all my hands that I had out. Like, but it sounds a little different because they completed my hand, but they changed the rules of the game in the mid hand because they wouldn't let me double anymore. So
I got you. I was walking out of that casino too, because it got to the point where there's trespass time, right? Because this guy just elevated things, so like no one around. And I saw the security guard's hand come right by my shoulder, and then this is why it's important for people to listen. I just put my, it's a podcast, all the videos you have out. I put my hands in the air and just said, "Don't touch me. Don't do anything," because literally at that point I really felt the security guard was ready to grab me, and it just escalated into this whole thing where this casino was so aggressive. And I don't have a problem with confrontation, but I'm trying to get out of there and not create a scene, but it just got elevated, and then I had to go call gaming, and I went back in, and he was basically this security guard with the pit boss or casino manager were just waiting for me to come back in when I had to cash in the chips because we were leaving. I was trespassed. I wasn't able to come back there, and they were just basically yelling out the trespass at me. And he's like, "Are you listening to me? Are you listening?" And he just was getting more elevated because I was ignoring him. I was like, whatever. But yeah, so that was an interesting story. I had the audio on that and sent it to a few people, so I think you've heard that story, live. And
it's amazing how upset casinos can get that someone's trying to win.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable how, like, this security guard would call me a little effing prick as I was walking across the street because I wouldn't stop so he could read me the trespass.
Like that one hand that they killed, or the two hands, was it was a $10. That was worth $10. And they're getting that upset over that. But
they don't. This casino, I think, had a past where they actually had a 6-figure lawsuit against them.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So they're known to be aggressive.
So how do you guys approach networking on the road, Z King?
Yeah, so if something with networking comes across, it's mostly with me because his sometimes communication, and he's so straightforward with people, it's sort of like might be a little too much for the person to handle. But we had it recently where he ran into somebody in a casino out on the West Coast, and he was able to link up with them, and I ended up meeting up with him. So he's able to network fine himself also, and that was actually pretty useful. But networking, I think, is probably one of the single most important things that you have to do. Like, we couldn't be where we're at today without doing it. And I've listened to certain things as far as networking, and if you're new, you're going to have to be willing to give up something good to these people you're going to have to earn their trust. And maybe your little secret casino or this great game that you found, but if there's somebody that you talk to that's been established or whatever, that has good information, you may have to give it up to them. And because at some point you're going to have to gain the trust in these people for them to give you anything. People are just not going to hand you information or help you out, and they're going to have to be able to trust you. And I think that was one of the things with Z King and I, is that people trusted us. Our ethics are really, really high. We don't screw people over, and we're able to network as a team very well. And I mean, when we first started, I just said, well, you don't need that, but it's just the wrong attitude. I mean, you have to network.
How do you determine someone else is trustworthy with?
That's a good point. I always do between both of us. And the next question, we really got to let Zeke talk here, but maybe we can talk about how he does his laundry in the bathtub. stepping on it like grapes or something.
Yeah, we need some good road tips here.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's certain people out there. I mean, I know one guy, and I know his reputation isn't the greatest, but it didn't take long for me, even before knowing this, to understand that he was not a trustworthy guy. First, he outed me in a casino when I was wearing a hat on BJA, and then it got deleted right away. But
was that you, Joe?
No, but I mean, he simply says he's got thousands of hours on a table, and then he's out in Vegas asking me, where to play and how to cash chips out at a certain casino. I'm like, are you kidding me?
So you just have to have your feelers out for if someone they seem worth.
Well, and BJ is great, and I almost forgot about this. There's two people, and I'll call them Oliver and Lisa because they're sort of like the Green Acres. If nobody knows what Green Acres is, but it's an old TV show. That's what they wanted me to refer them to.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, they were. We were going to a casino, or we were in a casino that had a reputation of being extremely fast backoffs, and we weren't finding that at all. And we were betting. This is right when we started. We were betting and getting serious time, and 2 by, get that time 450, 500 in that area. And they were coming. They said, "Well, my team and I are coming in. Teammate and I are coming into this area." And I'm like, "Oh my God, don't come into here now. We're here, And I reached out to them and asked them when they were coming, and it ended up being that they were coming in weeks in ahead of time. And once we both got done there, I was able to contact with them, and it ended up building a network with these two people that he's an extremely good friend, and I talk to them daily. And his teammate, the Lisa part, is actually quit her job now, and she's full-time making way more money than she had doing her other job, and she has the freedom of traveling. So, yeah, I mean, networking can be with somebody who's very well trusted and that is established, but these people were relatively new. But as it grew along, like the Oliver Park guy, this guy's an extremely smart guy with programming, computers, and everything else. So even if the person's new or may not have some type of establishment in the community, you never know what that's going to lead to. So we always bounce stuff off of people. I mean, just because somebody is new or doesn't have experience does not mean that you shouldn't give them any time, because you never know what that person's going to end up being in a year or so.
How have you guys handled? I guess I'll ask you, ZK. Is there anything you can do to counteract the fact that you were put in a database so soon, or is it just playing unrated? With the limits you guys are playing, I don't see how you can play unrated.
Yeah, you can still play unrated, but for me, because every time I go to the casino, it's already ID checked already. It's just a matter of time to go in the database. But if providing going to the database, I would say don't drive your car to the casino. Just Uber in, to prevent that. Pay like normal.
Yeah, and I kid him about stuff because we had a casino that I called his girlfriend because he talks to it like he lost his girlfriend when he lost it. And he played rated there and a database, and I think he took in 7 days or something over the course of 7 days, and he wasn't playing long sessions. He took around $50,000 from
that's the best moment.
And he was playing rated in a database.
I was playing to the $25 to $2,000 two hands. Every day I got like 6 hours.
So you got your $50 back from the original that made you wanted to get into card counting that you lost that one night?
Probably.
Yeah, it's funny too because our bets were so aggressive, and we look back, and I talked to you about this the other day, that you don't realize how fun the beginning is. And before we started this podcast today, we were talking about when we first met, we went early because we didn't want to play the $10 tables. We had to play the $5 tables. And then we're betting these crazy amounts. But yeah, I mean, he got this. I think that Asian superpower at this casino really helped him there too.
I disagree that. I still got back.
Yeah, he's hilarious at the table. Like I don't think I could play at the same table with him. I'd just be laughing the whole time.
So because they're going to do an ID check anyway, you just play rated and hope they don't look you up?
No, actually, I still don't. Even though they check my ID, but I still don't play rated. Because
But do you try to avoid a CTR then, or just,
Yeah.
or you play you deal with it when it happens?
If I got a CTR, then I play rated. It's like, hey, pitballs, I forgot my ID, blah blah blah. I'll see if we get me comms. But before the CTR, I still gonna pay unrated.
He did learn though, like at certain casinos where they even scan IDs, that you might as well play rated, because once they have your ID at the door, in that aspect. But
it really depends on the casinos.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong answers.
Yeah.
If you got information about a casino, they don't fire you or they don't database you, they don't care, then
this particular casino that we knew that you're supposed to play rated at, that he took all the money.
That's
from.
why you talk to people, get information. That's really important by just soloing.
Yeah, I was just, people want a hot take. They want a quick answer,
Yeah.
I think one of the things I've really been thinking about after we just finished a boot camp yesterday, and so it's been several days of endless hours of conversations about blackjack. But one of them is there isn't, like you said, it depends on the casino, and people are going to have to get over that fact that there isn't a definitive right answer all the time of what to do.
Yeah.
But the only thing you can do is try to tip the scales in your favor by finding out what information you can. Otherwise, live with it. You might do the wrong thing and you'll never know, or you might do the right thing and you'll never know. You just gotta be okay with some of that ambiguity.
I can tell everybody that you're going to make mistakes on the road, and it's going to bother you. But you're human. You're going to make mistakes, and you just have to learn from them. And the times that I figured or that we made mistakes was either we were just a little bit reckless or impatient. Those are the two things I always sort of find as a common factor when we make a mistake. And if you think that you'll take a chance and it might not hurt you, that's the wrong attitude. Because if it might hurt you, you can't take that chance. I would tell everybody, just don't rush and don't do anything reckless.
So we're, running short on time here. It's probably about time to start wrapping it up. But I want to see if Joe has any other questions, but also just if you guys have any favorite stories you want to share.
I have one thing to say before we wrap up, and this is concerns, this aggressive person sitting next to you, but that'll be in a second here. He has a funny story about the same casino he was playing at. He went up to the table and there's an Asian lady playing, and she didn't want him to play, so he had the limits raised. This is funny. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that was my favorite casino too.
Is this the girlfriend?
No.
Oh, okay.
So just some gambling.
Another casino girlfriend.
It was just a female gambler. It was like, she wanted to be solo on the table, so she weighs up the minimum to $200, and so she I'm so high, roller on the thing, and then I was like, okay, let's do it, because that's the only table. She took my table, so I was like, okay, let's do it. I put all my $1,000 chips on it, and then she's like, oh, you playing? I'm like, yeah, there's only $200. And then she freaked out. She's like, oh, I want to play alone.
Yeah.
If you want to say so, just ask me. You don't have to waste up the table to be an asshole.
He had another story. Like, I didn't get a lot of grief from from the other players, and I don't know if it's my appearance or whatever.
Yeah, they look down on you.
Yeah. But he had a guy at a new casino that opened up recently, and this guy was just giving him major crap the whole time, and then when you have to go at you remember, and then you said,
I was playing on the table, when we spread or getting 3 hands and all that, you're most likely gonna piss the other players. They're like, oh, every time why after you spread, we never win a hand and blah blah blah. And after 5 minutes later, the big boss come over, is like, oh, your game is too good for us, blah, blah, blah. And then that two gambler become my friends, like, oh my God, can I have your phone number? And how did you do this? Oh my God, you so pro. I'm like, you wasn't saying that like 5 minutes ago. That was
it was so funny. And then the guy was asking him what games to play, all this stuff.
He asked me what slot or what game I should play, and then I put him a game that benefit us
I thought we were going to get killed.
to play.
He was.
He's still losing anyway, so might as well help us out.
He was the first backoff at this casino.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How did you find that out?
It was brand new, and there's nobody else.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. Right. But yeah, I mean, some of the stories that we have is like in Vegas. We have a casino in Vegas that we can play super aggressive split tens and still get time in, and so it can be done. I mean, I played 7 hours in Vegas splitting tens, and the only reason why I stopped is because I was literally going to about fall asleep. Yeah. So if you have any other questions for me, Joe.
How do you wash your laundry in the bathroom?
Well, sometimes because on the road
He's so cheap.
It's not cheap. It's like you can't find laundry, or it's too far somehow, or too cold, or whatever it is. You just drop it into the bathtub and just put some shampoo on it. Just step on it, and old fashioned.
I think a lot of us have been there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So has there ever been an incident where you two are playing at the same casino and that caused some kind of problem, or?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this one a little bit. It was sort of funny because I was supposed to play, so we went into the casino, and I started playing, and I'm looking around for him, and I couldn't find him. I'm like, where is he? He's got to be walking around. Then I'll let him tell the story because he ended up clearing out the whole rack on this table.
Yeah, he was supposed to play and is supposed to, just walk around somehow. And then I found, I was back counting and found out I was pretty good. So I sit on it. I never lost my hand. That was like gorgeous shoes. And then I was the side of him playing. So there's only one pit boss on the row. So the pit boss was keep running front and back like a cockroach. I was like, what's going on? All of a sudden, two high rollers on the table. And because I was keep winning, back in the day it was 2 hands, 800, I think, top bet. Yeah, so I clean up all the hundreds they have to put, chips out. So, yeah, and then the pit boss, and find out him is counting too. So he keep calling.
They had to open up a table that was next to him to pay him chips.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so there's no black action at this casino. So this pit boss was literally, it had to be, 20, 30 feet. He's running back and forth like his head was cut off. I mean, they were in full panic. I mean,
that is awesome.
It was hilarious.
So you guys played at the same casino separately, but that makes me wonder if you guys have experimented with any team play as far as spot or BP.
We talked about it, but even listening to some of the stuff you did, we just realized the EV wasn't as good.
Yeah, it wasn't worth it.
So it wasn't worth it to us.
Yeah.
Because some of these places where the max is 500 or so, it's not like you're coming in as a big player and bidding like way more than that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because we already play, so progressive, the big player thing just don't work. It's just
it sounds like you guys are not interested in any form of cover, and spotter BP is just a form of cover. So why do it?
Yeah. Well, the one thing I have to say is that I'm really try to stay active throughout the day, and I have to stay healthy with my past medical. So I got into boxing, and as soon as I got into boxing, I was talking to Joe about it, and he wanted to fight me right away. He's so aggressive. I mean, I didn't know what it was. I'm this frail older guy, and he's like, well, let's fight, and I want to do this too. Well, I mean, it is virtual reality. It wasn't like real fighting, but the first thing he wanted to do is fight me, and then I'm like, finally, okay, let's do it. But, he was like 2 months that he's like, oh, let's fight. But the first thing out of his mouth is, I got virtual reality. And he says, well, can we fight each other? So, I mean, not only is he's super aggressive in Blackjack, but I think his personality I think he's a pretty aggressive guy here.
I think I had 15 chicken breasts that day for lunch, and it got me really amped up.
Yeah, it's hard for me to picture that Joe wanted to pick a fight with you, but if you say so.
It's so funny. But anyways, it was his birthday, so ZK and I bought him a virtual reality set.
And I had the time of my life watching him use it the other night, and I got to try it too, and kept falling from a cliff over and over.
But I'm telling you, it's a heck of a workout, and I'm super glad he likes it, and we'll see if we ever box each other.
That's a cool little pro tip to end it on. If someone's looking for a way to stay active on the road, maybe Oculus with the fitness.
It is. I got all kinds of fitness stuff on there and in the boxing, because a lot of times I can't do my cardio in the gym. The hours get late or whatever.
Sure.
So I can do it in a hotel room.
Yeah, especially now when a lot of places are closed anyway. So yeah, it's a good option.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thanks guys so much for taking the time to share about your story. I hope that both the pursuit of advantage play being casinos and just the relationship continues to go.
Colin, I mean, it's a pleasure being here. I mean, it's just, it's an honor to be on this podcast. I mean, if I was going to do a podcast, I always said that it was going to be this one first, and then if we do anything else, we can follow up. But I wanted to give back to the Blackjack apprenticeship community, and you hear stories that basically a jealousy of people talking about you or whatever else. And I'm not trying to kiss up to you or anything else, but you're probably one of the nicest, most upstanding people that somebody could meet. So anybody who talks crap about you is out of complete jealousy, because I mean, if they don't know you, I mean, to me, it's insanity to say anything bad about Colin Jones.
Well, thanks for saying that, but you want to fight? Thanks, guys. Hey, anybody listening in that wants to learn more about beating casinos with advantage play and primarily card counting, or wants to reach out to StanTheCaddy or Z King, you can do that through Blackjack Apprenticeship. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you.
I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. If you want to learn more about card counting and you're not a member at Blackjack Apprenticeship, check it out, where we have an entire video course. We have a training suite to teach you every skill you need to know. We have betting software, a casino database. We have results tracking software, members only podcasts, and even more behind the paywall, so you can check that out at blackjackapprenticeship.com. Oh, I forgot to mention, we have a forum and a chat room, and I'm going to see if I can get StanTheCaddy and ZK to do a scheduled chat room Q&A for those of you who have more questions for them. All right, hope you enjoy, and we will catch you in the membership area.